Something went mostly unnoticed in the recent GoPro HERO11 launch. The GPS module has changed. Is it any better? Having a camera that records GPS location, altitude and speed is really cool for so many applications, but users sometimes struggle to capture reliable GPS tracks because of how compact and rugged action cameras are. Other brands need to rely on external data trackers or don't offer the image quality of a GoPro. But how has the HERO11 changed in terms of geolocation and telemetry? In a nutshell, the GPS data recorded by the HERO11 is at least as good as what the 10 and previous models offered. Subjectively, the GPS antenna in the 11 is slightly more accurate and reliable. It finds a GPS log faster, can keep it in difficult situations, and it often seems to record more accurate positions. I think I know why that happens, but more on that later. You should still try to follow some basic rules to record good GPS data. Here you can see on-screen gauges to evaluate the signal quality. This shows how confident the camera is about the GPS signal. But the camera can be wrong, so here is a GPS map and speed and altitude values. We will compare them to what a Garmin tracker records or to different models. GoPros record great quality data under optimal conditions, outdoors, under a clear sky, mounted away from obstacles, and with the GPS antenna pointing at the sky. Giving it time to find the GPS satellites before you hit record is also essential. On the other hand, turning the camera on with the record button won't give it enough time to find the location. Luckily, the HERO11 is able to eventually recover from that and record some useful data for the second part of the video. But with previous models, chances are the entire video will lack the GPS stats. Getting into a city causes the GPS signal to be reflected by buildings, thus producing incorrect locations. This is a common problem, as you can see by the Garmin signal also going astray. While traversing a dense forest, the satellites become less visible, also increasing the chance of errors. Turning the camera upside down is risky, as the antenna will point at the floor instead of the sky. When using a chest mount, your body blocks some of the signals, so consider using a head mount instead. Recording GPS stats from inside the vehicle is difficult because of the metal roof. Conditions are much better outside it. Filming indoors will prevent any data from reaching you at all. And the same applies when diving. The media mod and other cages can weaken the GPS signal, so if you absolutely need to use one, it's best to put it on after you have a GPS lock. In many cases though, your activity or camera angle will force you to break one of these rules. But try not to break two, or at least record a separate GPS track with an external tracker as a backup. Note that even if the GoPro desktop software has not kept up with the latest camera models, programs like Telemetry Overlay and Telemetry Extractor will allow you to work professionally with the data and clean it up to correct small errors caused by imperfect recording conditions. GoPro cameras, especially recent ones, record other useful data streams like accelerometer or pitch and roll that don't depend on the GPS signal. Now, back to the recent changes. The two main ones are: the HERO11 includes a different GPS module than all its predecessors since the HERO5, and the frequency of the GPS data has dropped from the previous 18 samples per second to just 10. While that sounds bad if you rely on high-frequency data to compute GPS-based metrics, I will speculate that it could be good for reliability. If we look at the specifications of the GPS module, we will see that it can produce 18 samples per second if it tracks a single GNSS constellation. A constellation is a group of satellites, for example the American GPS, the Russian GLONASS, the European Galileo and the Chinese Beidou. The more satellites a GPS antenna tracks, the more reliable and accurate the computed location tends to be. At 18 Hz, the module in GoPro cameras could only track one constellation. If we wanted to track 2 or 3 of them to see more satellites and improve our geographical calculations, the maximum data rate would be 10 samples per second. and that is exactly the case with the new HERO11. The difference is not huge, but the signal in the HERO11 does feel more stable so far. It takes a shorter time to lock, and it keeps a more stable location in difficult environments. The good news for HERO10 users is that it has also been updated to use 10 Hz GPS, thus theoretically enabling concurrent constellations as well, probably 2 for most units. The new HERO11 Mini, on the other hand, does not have a GPS antenna, so you will have to rely on an external tracker or a smartphone. 10 Hz is still quite good compared to other trackers, but GoPro might be working on an advanced option to bring back 18 Hz in the experimental labs firmware. But that will only be beneficial if you are recording under the best signal conditions and you need very high time resolution for things like GPS-based acceleration. There might be future developments to this story, so subscribe to stay updated and have a look at the other videos to learn about Telemetry Extractor, which converts the GoPro telemetry to multiple formats, or Telemetry Overlay to display nice customizable gauges on your videos. Both tools were used to create this review.